Hello and welcome to another review. This one is for the Storm Nova. This is a pretty exciting one. Asymmetric ignition core from the Gate series overseas, R2X hybrid, which we haven't seen in a long time, and it looks great and smells great. Storm Products, Turbo Grips, Bowler's Mart, CoolWick, SRGBBFS on Facebook, and Royal Crest Lanes in Lawrence, Kansas sponsor the videos. Wouldn't be here without them. Follow the links in the description and at the end of the video to Bowler's Mart for your bowling needs. That lets them know I sent you. My code Rosdahl10 gets you 10% off your purchases at CoolWick, like the awesome jerseys we're wearing. And the SRGBBFS group on Facebook is your one-stop destination for all things SPI, specializing in used, rare, and international equipment. So I'm quite a bit more excited about this one than I probably should be. I saw it kind of leaked around a few weeks before we heard about it, and I thought, oh, it looks awesome. It has pink in it, cool new scent, R2X hybrid, and the ignition core. Yep, definitely not getting that one, but we lucked out. The ignition core has a 249RG, 052 differential, and an 019 intermediate differential in 15 pounds. And while it's been in plenty of overseas balls, the Gate series specifically, this is the first stateside appearance. The RG and diff are definitely familiar, identical to those from the Idol and Rubicon lines. However, the PSA strength is pretty far up there at 019, so lots of torque with this core. R2X is not new either. It's basically R2S with some NRG or nano added to increase the strength and blend a little. We saw the Pearl version on the Marvel Pearl, the solid version on the original Virtual Gravity for you history buffs, and most recently on the High Road X, but the hybrid version has been seen only once on the Virtual Energy, which should perk a few ears up. Furthermore, the core from the Energy was 248, 052, 020, which is very marginally different from the Nova, which comes at 3000 rather than shiny like the Energy was, but this is a great place for a ball to start at anyway, obviously. Factory gloss has been a little too glossy lately and not the best for ball reaction, and rarely is anything south of 3000 ever necessary. On the lane, the Nova lives somewhere between the Rubicon and the Insight. It's a bit stronger but smoother than the Rubicon and a bit weaker but sharper than the Insight. Now that we don't have the Insight anymore, the Nova is definitely the best replacement, and hopefully the shelf appeal will get it into enough hands to show people what they missed out on with the Insight. Finding a current line comparison was difficult, but I think we'll look at the dark code because these two could be great complements. They definitely aren't competition. The ignition core in the Nova is the next strongest core to the RAD4 from the DC in the line right now, and although R2X and REX are technically pretty far apart, the cover core combo gets it close, and in certain situations it might even seem stronger due to how kind of fluid the dark can be. The dark is kind of weird. It's got plenty of traction for heavier stuff, but you can use it on drier stuff too, and at times it can even seem a little slow or weak, then get surprising traction and sharpness at other times. The wet-dry blending is pretty wild. However, this puts it in play on an impossible amount of conditions. I've used it on all kinds of stuff. If it's either a little too weird or wiggly, the Nova would be the perfect choice to give you a similar look with a bit more traditional or obvious / simple reaction. Out of the box, it's a little too diggy for me. Most stuff with surface is. I like the blend, but I usually don't need the extra hook. From straighter, it makes me kind of have to chuck / dump it to get it down the lane, so I can't get the greatest roll on it, but obviously this isn't the best line to throw it from anyway. Once I move in and get some help from the angle and kind of adjust to actually being able to throw it well, it's pretty solid. I'd still prefer some more shine because it keeps me a little too honest. If I throw it well, it looks great, but throwing it well has kind of been a crapshoot lately. Thanks, Marie Calendar. It's been getting a lot better though. It looks better than it feels, at least. Like I said while we were watching Angel, it's right in between the Rubicon and the Insight, but it feels more like the Insight than the Rubicon from a ball roll perspective. The Rubicon has a pretty defined transition on the back end, while the Insight and now the Nova are a little slower to make it, or they both blend a little more, but the extra torque from the core in the Nova plus the cleaner and sharper nature of the cover makes that transition faster for the Nova than the Insight. It's not quite a free shape ball like the Rubicon or something shiny. You'll need to give it a second or two to spin up. It'll be straight up nasty on tougher stuff though, because the Rubicon can be too sharp and the Insight can be too slow. This is like a magical blend of the two. Here's the Rubicon back from when I threw the ball decent. Definitely quicker despite being a solid. It's got a cleaner cover formula on it, so it's pretty dynamic and is one of the better balls in the catalog right now. I know it's not new and sexy, but if you're just looking for a straight up beast, don't wait until it gets discontinued to pick one up. I'm sure you're hooked on the Nova by now though. I mean, it's got pink in it and we all know what that means. But I really hope the Rubicon gets goated and sticks around for a while like the IQ Tour, Phase 2, and High Road. Now looking at the Insight, you can see the familiarity or the resemblance. Those of you that picked one up know what it's all about and understand what we're looking at with the Nova. The Insight definitely wasn't for everyone and wasn't your prototypical house shot killer, but for heavy hands and tough conditions, it was a lifesaver. Unfortunately, the optics kind of killed it. If that gold had been Axiom Pearl Blue, for example, it might still be around, but while I wasn't big on it first myself, it grew on me pretty quick, and now the Nova is kind of an upgrade already. The Nova releases January 14th with the Spectre, which surprised us both quite a bit. Make sure to check out that review too. It's another example of precise, refined reaction targeting while still mixing it up. There's no overlap with anything else in the line, and the shelf appeal on this one, both with visuals and the scent, are off the charts. Thanks for watching, and may the strikes be with you.